Hello, everyone, and welcome to Consciousness is Sexy. I'm your host, Patty Alfonso. I'm going to give it a few minutes before I dive in so that people will refresh their screens, make sure that we all get on the same page here. Cool. Oh, and then I have to mute myself. So it's working. I'm going to get rid of that. How does it get better? Welcome, everyone, again. My name is Patty Alfonso. Before we begin, I actually wanted to express my deepest gratitude for all of you who are here. I was peeking around the list of people that have registered for the show, and to my delight, we are being here together with people from over 20 countries. And so we have people, I just want to give everyone a shout out from the US, from New Zealand, from Australia, from India, from Israel, Sweden, Puerto Rico, the UK, Indonesia, Ireland, Romania, Spain, Canada, Japan, South Africa, Mexico, Slovenia, Denmark, the Philippines, and Pakistan. So a shout out to all of you around the world. I'm so grateful that you are taking the time to hang out with me every week for these 30-minute blasts of consciousness being sexy. How does it get better than that? So today's show, chaos, vulnerability, and being you. And I know that we have a couple of questions already on the live page, and I will get to those. But I wanted to chat with you a little bit about what that is, chaos, vulnerability, and being you. First, let's look at vulnerability. In Access Consciousness, we have the elements of intimacy, the 5 elements of intimacy, and one of them is the element of vulnerability. And I've been actually playing with this energy and perceiving it and choosing more vulnerability myself this year. And I actually went with my sister to she was speaking at a human trafficking conference, like a sex trafficking conference. She was in Cambodia earlier this year and became really passionate about that particular cause. And so she was delivering a speech at her church, and I went to support her. And it was really interesting. And I was sitting there, and what I noticed was that a lot of the speakers were talking about how the ways in which the people that get trafficked are vulnerable to being trafficked. And the way they were using the word kind of kept tweaking my universe. Like they would say it, oh, so-and-so is vulnerable to this and this happened in their family, so they're vulnerable to being prey. And I was just like, what is this? And so I asked my sister after, I was like, what does vulnerability mean to you? Like, what is that? And we talked a little bit about that. And with her description of what she was saying, I was like, oh, okay, so what you actually really mean is people are susceptible. And the reason it tweaked me is because in Access, we talk about vulnerability not as a weakness, not as, you're weak and that's why people are going to prey on you. We play with the energies of being vulnerable, and we look at that from the space of how much courage it takes to be vulnerable. And in the elements of intimacy, we talk about vulnerability as in having no barriers, being totally open. And so in the space of vulnerability, when you don't have any barriers and you're being totally open with yourself, with your body, with all of the energies that are present, you actually get to have more awareness. And now, as an infinite being, when you have all of the awareness that you're capable, can you be susceptible or a victim to anything? And for me, that's a no. And it does take a great amount of courage to be totally vulnerable with all of the energies that are present, the fun ones and the not so comfortable ones as well. When we put up our barriers to things, we're actually shutting off our awareness. We're actually, with this sense that we have to like protect ourselves from something. But when you're shutting off and you're putting up walls and you're putting up barriers, then you're actually just shutting you off. And it was interesting because the rest of the week after I went to see my sister's speech, whether I was watching a movie or listening to someone's conversation or having a conversation, that word kept coming up about being vulnerable, but using it in the sense that being vulnerable was a weakness, that there was something wrong because they were vulnerable to that. Do you get the energy of that? So everywhere we have misidentified and misapplied what vulnerability is, can we please destroy and uncreate that? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, and all the places that we are choosing barriers rather than choosing the space of vulnerability. Can we destroy and uncreate that? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, and any oaths, vows, fealties, communities, swearings, binding and bonding contracts throughout any lifetime, space, or dimension where you chose never to be that vulnerable again. Will you revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, POC, POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And for those of you that are watching, we actually have a lot of people watching that are new to Access. So thank you. And how does it get better than that? That was the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. And it's basically a magic wand. And you ask a question and it brings up a particular energy. And then you use the clearing statement to clear that energy and open up this space. So what would it take to open up this space of vulnerability that you truly be? And anything that doesn't allow that, let's destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And so if you're choosing barriers between you and other people, between you and your body, between you and all of the energies, are you really able to have the space of being you? Again, we have this idea that barriers or boundaries, right, is a more, I think, common word in spiritual circles, that it's this place where you get to tell people, what works for you and what doesn't work for you and all this stuff, but it's actually really a creation of separation. And can you really barrier away from anything? You're an infinite being with the capacity to perceive, know, be, and receive everything. And so that can be uncomfortable and challenging at times. And this is why I love the tools of Access Consciousness, because they actually give you the tools to be able to stay present with all of the energies and the awarenesses that we have. I know for myself, I came into this world, right? Infinite being, crazy kid, tons of awareness, always aware of what things people didn't want to be aware of, and aware of the things that people didn't want to say. And through, the abuse that I created in my life, I created a ton of barriers. I shoved myself in this tiny little box that eventually, and if you've read my book or if you know my story, you know that doing that almost killed me. I really, really wanted to die for a while. And it wasn't until I got myself out of that box and where I started to really destroy the barriers and really started to get vulnerable with myself about what I was choosing and what I was creating and what I was aware of, then, that's really when the magic started to happen. And when I started to create the magic in my life. And honestly, we all know it's not always comfortable to be so aware. And what would it take to have more joy with all of the awareness that is available and that you're capable of having? And anything that doesn't allow you to have that, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And so when we when we perceive this particular energy, this space of vulnerability in terms of the body, your body is a sensate organism. It's a sensate being. You know, it has consciousness and awareness, and your body, because it doesn't actually have any points of use and it functions from consciousness, it can actually contribute to you and to your life. It can actually contribute information because it's willing to receive it. It's willing to have it. But if you put up barriers between you and your body, if you're not willing to be vulnerable with your body, then you're going to lock down and discount all of that information and lock it up into your body. It's really those barriers that we put up that end up creating a lot of the stiffness and the dis-ease in our bodies, because our bodies are just trying to tell us. They're just trying to give us information. So being you with your body, you know, what is that? What would that be like for you to be totally vulnerable with your body? What would it be like for you to be totally vulnerable and open and aware with all of the energies that are available? Anything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, receive that, and have that, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. We do have a couple of questions, or at least one that I saw before. So Bettina from Germany, hi Bettina, welcome. She says, what am I aware of? How do we know if entities are around? What do I do with them? And how can I make them deliver what contributes right now? So Bettina, what are you aware of? And I actually have started asking the question, what am I perceiving? Awareness, it's like you already, like there's already a knowing of what that is in that question. So when you ask the question, what are you perceiving? It actually creates a greater space for awareness, because we perceive energies. Like this morning, I woke up and there was just this like clunk in my universe. It was just like clunk, and I was like, Dain talks about like when you wake up and there's an elephant sitting on your chest. That's kind of what this morning was like for me. And I was like, okay, wow, ooh, what is this? What am I perceiving? What am I perceiving? What is this? What is this? And my sister came out and I was like, oh, okay. I'm not really sure what was going on in her universe, because she didn't say anything. Literally, I don't think we spoke to each other all day. And I was like, okay. She came out and she did her thing and I did my thing. And there was just this heaviness. And I was like, okay, is this mine? And I was like, okay, no. So return to sender, return to sender. And even as I returned it to sender, it was still present. It was still there because it was there for her. I couldn't change it because it wasn't mine, you know? So I did my thing. I went out to the porch and I had some coffee and I put in my earphones and I listened to some clearings and some classes. And then she went into the room and she didn't come out again until, you know, way later. And it was interesting because I took a nap, and during my nap, I perceived my body was contributing something, because all of a sudden that sort of clunk and that heaviness that I was perceiving, right? Notice how I didn't make it mine. The clunk that I was perceiving on my chest dissipated and I could breathe, and I was like, oh, okay. Whew. And then she came out and she was totally in a better mood and started talking to me, and I was like, wow, okay. So what are you perceiving? And is it yours? And return to sender with consciousness attached. How do we know if it's entities that are around? Yay, awesome question. So ask, is this an entity? What is this? Is it an entity? And then just perceive the energy. Is it light? If it's light, it's true for you. If it's heavy, it's not true for you. And just perceive and be aware and expand out and be space and just keep asking questions. So So when you ask, is this an entity? And let's say you get a yes. So, okay, hi. Kind of like how you would talk to a person, only it's faster and you don't actually have to use words. When you communicate with entities, it's different than when you communicate with a person, in the sense that you don't have to use words. Entities communicate mostly with energetically. And yes, they can use words as well, but when you allow yourself to be as fast as the speed of space, then you don't really need words, which is way more fun for me. So just say, hey, what's up? How you doing? What are you doing here? It was funny. My friend Amy had come over and we were running bars, and I've been aware of these entities in the kitchen, and they were making noise, and I was like, is it entities? Is it them? Yes. And Amy was like, why don't you clear them? And I was like, I don't know. I kind of just want to see what they're doing and what they want. For a long time, when I started discovering my sort of, capacities with entities, the only thing I was doing was clearing them. And I'll give you the clearing in a minute. And now I'm just really curious about what it is that I can contribute, what it is that they desire to contribute to me, what it is that they're here for, what it is that they're choosing that is keeping them stuck in this reality rather than just leaving. So anyway, I cleared them later. But anyway, okay, so focus. No, don't focus. Be aware. So is it an entity? Let's say you get a yes. Okay, hey, what's up? Do you know you don't have a body? And then just begin the dialogue as if you were, communicating with anyone else. If they desire to be cleared, you can ask them, do you need to be cleared? What can I contribute to? And literally just be aware and perceive the energies. So if they do need to be cleared, you can ask them, so who are you? So let's all do it together. Actually, everybody on the call and everybody listening into the future, perceive, hello, all of the entities that desire to be cleared, and just say, hey, just stay vulnerable, lower your barriers, expand out, and repeat with me. Who are you? Who are you before that? 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 Who will you be in the future? What are you? What were you before that? 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 What will you be in the future? What was your job? What was your job before that? 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 What was what? What were your job in the future? That was a little bit lighter. Notice how I kind of started talking a little bit faster. Okay, so you can all go now. Bye. Your job is done. All the magnetic imprinting left in this reality or in anyone's bodies or on the earth, dissipate and release, dissipate and release, dissipate and release. Awesome. How does it get better than that? For everyone who is just joining us, that was, we did an entity clearing. Our friend Bettina was asking some questions about that. So what I do with them, cool. So that was a few examples. You can either communicate with them, you can ask them questions about what it is that they desire or what they require. Ask them if there's anything that they desire to contribute to you. And then you can clear them. You can communicate with them. You can receive from them. You can return them to from whence they came, never to return to you, your body, or this reality ever again. And that clearing is specifically for an entity who desires to create anti-consciousness on the planet. We like to call those entities demons, not to make it significant or anything like that. They're just entities like anyone else, and their job is to create anti-consciousness. Their job is to make sure that you don't get conscious. Their job is to make sure that we don't have consciousness in this reality. So I really love playing with that one. You can say, go back to from whence you came, never to return to me, never to return to meet my reality, my body ever again. Go back to from whence you came, never return to meet my body or my reality ever again. Go back to from whence you came, never to return to meet my body or my reality ever again. And I like to do those 1, 2, 3s when I do those, because, well, I don't like to do it. My body just did it, but I'll tell you what those are about as well. So whenever you want to, and this can actually tie into as well, when you're aware of a particular energy and it's not so comfortable, you can ask, like, is this mine, someone else, or something else? And you can do 1, 2, 3s to help dissipate that energy, to clear it. So basically, you just put your hands out like this. I'll show you. And you're going to pull energy from everywhere in the universe through your body and your back, your front, your feet, through the earth, through your hands. And then you're just going to do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If your body is perceiving something and it's like uncomfortable, it's just a crank in your body, and you ask, is this mine, something else, or someone else? And you get a something else, then it's usually an energy that the earth is requesting that you can deliver. So then you would just do those 1, 2, 3s into the earth, like so. Magical powers. We all have them. Again, this is what I love about the tools of access, is that it gives you really pragmatic, practical tools to play with everything that you're aware of, play with all of the energies that are available in this reality. And as you continue to lower your barriers and expand your energy out and expand your body out, and as you continue to really truly choose to be an infinite being rather than a finite being stuck in a body, then you are going to have more awareness. And these tools can facilitate you being fully present with any energy or awareness that shows up, any entity that shows up, anything. You're an infinite being. Your capacities for miracles, your capacities for magic are beyond anything that any of us could have ever imagined. And what would it take for all of us to be that and embody that and contribute to the creation of a reality with total consciousness? And consciousness includes everything and judges nothing. So anytime that you see yourself going into a judgment about something, this is right, this is wrong, this should be this way, this should be this way, I did this right or I did this wrong, whatever those judgments are, just stop. Just stop. Consciousness includes everything and judges nothing. Judgment kills energy. Judgment kills joy. So let's give it up. Let's give it up for the next week. That's going to be your assignment for the next week, to really stay present with everything and just stay present with anywhere in which any kind of judgment shows up. And lowering your barriers, expanding your energy out, expanding your body out. You can use the tool Interesting Point of View. I have that point of view, which we talked a little bit about last week. If you missed that show, I encourage you to watch it. It's on my YouTube channel at the moment. Interesting Point of View, I have that point of view. Interesting Point of View, I have that point of view. Interesting Point of View, I have that point of view, until the energy shifts and changes. Everywhere where you are choosing to judge you, those are the places where you're killing the magic that's available for you and where you're killing the possibilities for miracles. And if there's any other questions, let me know. I think that's it. Especially now with this new conversation that is happening in Access Consciousness of Chaos and Order. And I've talked about it in every show because it's just a magnificent conversation that we're having. And what I want to sort of tie in with that is that as we choose to embody the chaos that we truly be, And as we choose to, well, the word that's coming is destroy all of the places where we have tried to order ourselves into a tiny little box. Stuff is shifting. New awarenesses are showing up. New levels of vulnerability are showing up. And so be aware of that and reach out to someone if that's what's required. Someone who can ask you a question that will contribute to shifting the energy, that will contribute to changing what is coming up, that will contribute to being able to make a different choice. And embrace the chaos. How does it get better than that? Chaos is another one of those words that we have a couple of questions. Okay, chaos is another one of those words that has been misidentified and misapplied. It's got such a negative kind of connotation in this reality. And chaos being the energy of creation, the energy of just being whatever is required in any moment without any kind of judgment, without any kind of point of view about anything. Okay, so Nancy, hi Nancy. Let's see, thank you for this. I've been having a hard time being vulnerable with a coworker who continues to tell me he loves me. And for a while it was okay, but now every time it's stated, I want to rip his face off. I love it. Awesome. I appreciate your vulnerability in saying that you want to rip his face off. I think we all have those moments here and there. Without telling a whole story, it's heavy on me and I don't feel I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable to the energy of I love you, regardless of his intention or what I feel when it's stated. This is a man who doesn't know loving himself and feels very low about life and himself. So so is there a lie here with a truth attached? What are you aware of? Usually when this energy comes up of anger, there's several things that can be because of that. One of them is that there's a lie present. So what are you aware of beyond, what he is actually saying, which you've said in your message? So what are you perceiving? What do you know? What are you aware of? And, are you really not being vulnerable? Is that really true? So I would encourage you to read that message again. And would you be willing to acknowledge the level of awareness beyond that you're having? And not make yourself wrong. So this is where, these are the kind of places where see, she's like, she went into the, oh, there must be something wrong with me because I'm angry because this guy is saying that he loves me and it makes me mad. What are you aware of? What do you know about what is really being said that you're not allowing yourself to know? And anything that doesn't allow that, will you destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, pock, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. There's a lie with a truth attached. It could be a distractor. We're just going to go with there's a lie with a truth attached. That's the one that's kind of popping at the moment. And I think you know more than you're giving yourself credit for. And even your vulnerability in asking the question and your vulnerability in being totally open to what was going on, go with that. I would listen to this part again and reread your question, because I think there's a lot more there than you're giving yourself credit for. How does it get better than that? Awesome. Wow, 30 minutes goes really fast. How does it get better than that? If there are any last minute questions, I'll be happy to take them. If not, we are going to sign off for today. I would like to encourage you during these times to get your bars run. If you're new to Access Consciousness, you can find out what that is at accessconsciousness.com. We have facilitators all over the world. It's an amazing, yummy body process that contributes to reducing stress, to reducing anxiety. It opens up your awareness. It clears limitations. It clears limiting points of views. We like to say that at worst, you'll feel like, At worst, you'll feel like you had a great massage. At best, your whole life will change. And especially during these times when there is so much changing energetically. And even if you're not a part of the like chaos conversation in Access, we are all connected, my friends. We are all in communion, whether we're totally aware of it or not. And if there are some of us changing, it is rippling out into the universe, and everyone is changing. So please do not skimp out on your self-care and running your bars and getting body processes if that's possible. I'm actually going in a few minutes to go get my bars run today because you know that elephant on my chest was really heavy this morning, but it wasn't mine. So how does it get better? Anyway, no more questions. Thank you all so much. I'm so grateful to be creating this with you and tapping into everyone's energies. I am super excited about next week. I'll be heading to Houston for the rewrite of the foundation class. If you don't know what that is, for sure go to accessconsciousness.com and check it out. I would not miss that if I were you. I hope to see you in person someday, somewhere around the globe. And I will see you next week. Have an amazing day. Bye, everyone.